What's up YouTube, it's Taco Twans here. Welcome back to our channel.
If this is your first time here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification for weekly video notifications. Today, we're gonna be installing this light bar here. This is a 42-inch light bar and we're gonna be putting it on the Prinsu. It does have a 40-inch cutout already, but if you actually measure the cutout, it is more than 40 inches. So this will actually fit in there perfectly. This here is made by Cali Raised, and if you guys watched our other videos and follow us on Instagram, you guys will know that we used a Baja Designs on the Tacoma, the gray Tacoma, but we wanted to switch it up a little bit. This is going to be a little more cost effective, and then we're going to see how good the output is. So let's get installing. So we're holding the 42-inch light bar to the Prinsu with the 40-inch cutout. And as you guys can see here, there's about an extra inch on each side. I think Prinsu does this so they can allow you to add a bigger light like this one or a little bit bigger. So I just wanted to show you guys before we actually install it that this 42-inch will fit on the Prinsu. And then after we install it, I'm hoping that it sits a little bit below the wind deflector so it's a little more stealth so it doesn't stick out like this much. So we actually got the brackets that are made for the Prinsu. So this is something that you gotta get separate. It comes with a couple bolts, 2 washers, and then these will go in the T-slots in the crossbars up there. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first. And these are like half of a circle. Basically, it'll slide into those slots and then you can slide it back and forth. So you guys are gonna wanna put one side in first and then it'll flatten out by itself. And that way you can slide it wherever you need it to be. Once you have that piece in, grab your mounting bracket and then we're gonna grab a bolt and washer. I'm gonna put that right on top of this. And then when you grab the bracket, you're gonna make sure you grab the one when you lay it down. This will be on the inside of the vehicle, not towards the outside. Once you have that, just go ahead and screw it on. And then don't tighten it down all the way, that way you can slide it back and forth. And then we're gonna do the same for the other side. Once again, bolt, washer, bracket, and make sure we're gonna face it on the inside. We're gonna go ahead and get that started. Once again, don't tighten it down all the way, and that way you can slide it back and forth wherever you need it to be. So we're gonna set that here. We're gonna grab the light bar, grab the hardware for it, and then we'll put the light bar on and see where it sits right now. So we have it just slightly mocked up right now where we can see if we like the positioning of it. And we are using the Cali Raised Prinsu mounting bracket. And if you see here, there is a small gap that is under the wind deflector on the Prinsu. And personally, I want it to be as flush as possible. So by ordering this bracket, we do get the piece that goes into the slot. So what we're gonna do instead of using the Cali Raised mounting bracket is we're gonna use the bracket that actually came with the light bar, so that way it brings it down a little bit more, and that way we eliminate the gap that's on here. So if you guys can see, there is a very, very small gap right there, and it might not bother you guys, but it does bother me because that is their gap. If you look on my Tacoma, there's absolutely no gap at all. You can't even see the bottom of the metal on the light bar. We're gonna swap that out real quick. If you guys are gonna be using the bracket that comes with the light bar like we are, you will have to loosen up this Prinsu wind deflector. That way you can slide the bracket further over. That way it will fit the light bar, because right now where it's at, we can't put the light bar on. So what we did here is we loosened this up just a little bit. That way we can pull this up towards us and then move this over just a little bit. So as you guys can see there, it is under the wind deflector now, and that will allow us to actually center the light bar just like that. And then now you can see that it's more flush. There's no gap underneath it. And we can even aim it down a little bit if we want to. One thing I do want to mention to you guys is that when you guys are putting the light bar on, make sure the wire is on the driver's side, so that way you can run down into your firewall and then into the cab. Because what we just did, we made the mistake of not paying attention to that, and we actually had it on the wrong side, so we had to undo everything and flip it, which was annoying. But yeah, make sure it's on the driver's side. So here's the harness that you can get from Cali Raised LED. So it comes with the switch, obviously, but you can also switch this out to more an OEM style. And then on the other end, we got the connector that's gonna connect to the actual light bar. And then the last thing we have here is the relay. The relay allows you to actually flip it on and off. And then of course, the power and the ground. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna wire it up. We're gonna grab this end, we're gonna plug it in here, just like this. And then what we're gonna do with this excess wire is we're gonna tuck this part up in there, because if we wanted to run this down the side of the mirror, this part is gonna be showing, which is not ideal. So what we're gonna do is gonna tuck all of this up there, and then we're gonna run just this part down the windshield. Next part is wiring up the light bar. So what I did here is I zip tied the top part of the actual wire, so that way that connector doesn't show. And of course we're gonna cut that down and make it look all nice and pretty later. But down here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run it down the side of the windshield. We're gonna actually tuck it. If you see here, there is a gap right in here next to the windshield. And what you wanna do is just squeeze it so that it's thin enough to tuck in there. So we're gonna line it up, grab a flathead, a big one, and then just start tucking it. And this is gonna be a really slow process, but it will look clean once you're done. So once you have it tucked, it's gonna look like that. And then we're gonna do it to the rest of this, and then we'll show you what it looks like after, because this is gonna take a while. All right guys, if you guys look here, we have tucked the whole wire harness down in there. And if you guys are worried about damaging the harness wire, use a plastic trim piece. One with a fatter end will work really good, because it made this job go by really quick. You can just go by and push it down just like that. So once you get down here, we're gonna remove this piece. To remove this piece, just push it up, it'll come right out. If not, use a plastic pry tool. There you go. And then we'll go ahead and push this down all the way. Just run it under here. Once you have it tucked in, all the wires are inside the engine bay, we'll go ahead and put this piece back. Next thing, so obviously we have a lot of excess wire here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna zip tie it and make it look clean, and then tuck it away somewhere cleanly. And then with your relay, we don't have one now, but we'll probably get a relay holder, because we already have a relay right here. And the more accessories you add to your vehicle, the more relays there's gonna be. So we actually found a hole right here next to our other relay. So we just put a bolt that we found right there. Just all it does is hold it, it's gonna hold it in place. That's pretty much it. And then now we're gonna run this wire with the switch that we just took off. We're gonna run it inside, so that way we'll have a switch. Right now we don't have a switch that will match the Toyota ones, but we'll get one of those eventually. So what you guys wanna do, grab some electrical tape, grab a long flathead or Phillips, it don't really matter. What we're going to do is we're going to tape it to these wires. That way we can just poke it through this rubber seal that's on the firewall going into the cab. Just do that a couple times. Okay. And we do have a light bar already in our bumper. This one is a Rigid Industries. We bought this with the Hefty Fireworks bumper, which we are going to be selling, by the way, if you guys are interested. Hit us up on Instagram. So once you have this, we already have, this is the harness to the Rigid Industries, and it's just coming out of that hole right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to poke this through that same hole. Okay. Once you get that through, come around to the other side. Let's take a look here. So right there with the tape is the flathead that we just used to poke it through. And that wire that's underneath it is the existing Rigid Industries wire we just talked about. So we're gonna pull that through a little bit more, untape it, and then pull the actual switch through, or the actual wires through. All right, so we have taken off that tape that we wrapped it in, as you guys can see. Those three connectors that are sticking out in the screwdriver. We're gonna go ahead and pull those three wires through. I'm gonna push the flathead out. All right. So here is that wire that we ran through from the light bar. And this is gonna connect to our switch. So we're gonna get a switch that has more OEM, like this one. This is one that goes to the Rigid Industries. And we're probably gonna fill one of these ones up with a switch as well. But for now, we're gonna use the one that the light bar came with. But once we're here, we are going to want to either run it up here, through here, using like a long screwdriver or a tool that can get this up here. But for now, we're just gonna leave this down here until we get one of these switches. And then we'll probably do a separate video showing you guys how to connect one of these up or any light bar up with a switch. So last thing that we need to do is connect the positive and the negative. So the positive obviously will go to the positive. So we're going to loosen up this top nut right here, which is a 12 millimeter. We're going to take that off, and you can see here we have other wires connecting to it. Just grab the positive, the red one, put that on there, replace that nut. And if you guys have like an S-Pod or a Switch Pros or anything like that, you guys will have a little bit more of a cleaner setup than we do right now. It's something we probably will get in the future, but right now we don't have enough accessories. And lastly, we're gonna put the negative on, and we're actually gonna put it on the firewall here instead of on the battery. So we'll crack this one off, which is a 10 millimeter, and it's the one that is running off of the negative on the battery. I'm going to take that off. And we do already have another wire that's on here as well. That's running to our grill lights. And we are done with the install. Last thing you want to do, obviously all this extra wire, make it nice and neat and tuck it away, zip tie it. Grab the switch that we took off so we can feed the wires through to the inside. We're going to connect it here. So with the switch, since we took it off, we took a picture of it so that way we know which way it goes in. So it's going to be black on top, which is the gold prong here. And then blue goes in the middle, and then white goes on the very end. And then we are going to flip it on, and there you go. Take a look, guys. So we might have to turn the engine on so that way you guys can see the full power of this thing, and we'll shut the garage as well. All right guys, so all the wiring is done, got everything tucked in. And now we're gonna show you guys what the light looks like when it's during the day. There you go. And we did turn the engine on because you do need the engine on to get full power to these LED light bars, just because they pull so much power. So that's what it looks like. And now we're gonna close the garage and show you what it looks like in the dark. All right, so we'll show you, turn on the rigid. These are the Rigid Industries light bar that we have on our hefty bumper, and we'll show you our Cali Raised LEDs now. There you go. God damn, these are so bright. So that is the two light bars on. You can see the difference there. I'll show you guys a you know, since these are just so bright, it's hard to get a focus on them, but that is what they look like. There you go. Now that it's dark enough, we can actually test out the light. It is 10:30 p.m. right now, and the light that we have on right now is just the headlight. This here's the high beam. As you can tell, the high beam is LED. It is blue, which we don't really like. We have a video that's going to be replacing the low beams and the high beams. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. But right now, what you see is just the stock halogen bulbs, and we're going to be fixing that real soon, because right now, it's in the video it's not too bad, but in person it's kind of yellow and it's horrible. So well, let's just go ahead and flip on the Rigid Industries. So right there is the Rigid Industries light bar that is in the hefty aluminum bumper that we have on the 4Runner. As you can tell, it's a spot light bar, so it's only focused in that one spot. Let me shut that off. As you can see, it's extremely bright. So I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to shut off the headlights after. So there. That's with the headlights off. As you can see on the sides there, see how it was a little bit yellow. So the Rigid Industries is good if you know, if you do have ditch lights to aim the sides. But let's shut that off real quick, turn the headlights back on, and then now we're gonna actually turn on the newly installed Cali Raised LED light bar, the 42-inch. There we go. As you can tell, it is a spot as well, and it is kind of low right now, but we can aim it up later. And this is what it looks like with the headlights off. As you can tell, it didn't really do much of a difference right there. I'm going to turn it on now with the Rigid Industries light. There we go. As you can tell there, I'm going to try it one more time to shut it off. This is off. This is on. So right now they're both hitting in the same spot, which is not ideal, I guess. But you know, I'm gonna aim the new 42-inch Cali Raised light bar up just a little bit so we can see further down the path. The Cali Raised is really bright, so we're really surprised with the output, and we definitely are gonna recommend it to anybody who is looking for a light bar that is affordable and that is bright. All right guys, that is it for today's video. Let us know what you guys think between the two combo setups that we have, Prinsu with Baja and Prinsu with Cali Raised. Yeah, let us know what you guys think between the two. That is it for today's video. Peace.